number of people I knew was really getting their ass beat with that.
Yeah, have you managed to avoid it?
Yes, thank God. So let's hope the luck continues.
Let's hope it can't be transferred electronically.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I tell you, what I wanted to do today, with your permission, is have a discussion about race.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. It's Thursday, January 30th, 2020. Me and Paul Elam, the illustrious, some should say the notorious Mr. Paul Elam, editor-in-chief, founder of A Voice for Men. You know what? Do you still have that video about Roe for Men and abortion and all that? Do you still have that on YouTube?
Which one was that?
The one that, this is way back. This is like, could be like 10 years ago. You did a really good video about, because, you know, this month marks the anniversary of Roe v. Wade and all that sort of thing. And you really did a really great video commentary about, look, I mean, if we're going to have Roe for Wade for women, and I support that, you support that, you know, I'm good with it, but we got to even it out. So we got to have Roe for men. And your thing was, if women have the right to end a pregnancy, and we agree with that, then men should have the right to say, see ya, wouldn't want to be it. You know?
Absolutely right. Yes, that video is still up somewhere there on my old channel. Man, you're going back 10 years now.
Yeah, that's one of the all-time greats right there. That's a classic.
Well, and it's still a position I hold true, man. I don't want to criminalize abortion. I don't like abortion. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing, but I don't think criminalizing everything solves problems.
No.
But as long as women have the prerogative to walk into an abortion clinic on demand simply because they're not ready to be a parent, well, what if I'm not ready to be a parent?
That's right. That's right. And of course, they'll say to the men is, well, you should zip it up. Well, we could say the same thing to the women.
Oh, hell yeah. They can put their knees together and keep them that way. But of course, they get mad when you suggest that because we can't tell women what to do with their bodies. But we can tell men what to do with their bodies.
And not only their body, with their wallet too. Because what they want you to pay for these abortions all of us. I told a guy the other day, I don't want Planned Parenthood to go away. I just want it to go private. Let people, if you believe in a woman's right to choose, you can show your support by writing a check.
Your body, your choice, your responsibility.
Yep. That works for me.
Man, we're on the same page there. Now, if we could figure out how to get everybody to get along on everything else, we'd be doing just fine.
It's very simple. It's very simple. These problems, the race thing and all the rest of it, these problems are very simple. In the United States, and I'm going to prove it. In the United States, it's very simple to make it. It's real simple. Walter Williams gave us the formula. Don't drop out of high school. If you're going to have babies, get married first. Get a job. Keep that job for at least a year before moving on to another job. If you're going to get with somebody, partner with somebody that holds that same views that you do. You'll make it into the middle class. It's that simple. And the proof of that is all these people coming from Mexico, the different parts of Africa, the Caribbean, Eastern Europe. They all come here and make it.
Yep. So what keeps that logic from becoming the dominant form of thinking in American culture?
Because
we're a long way from that.
But loser culture is big business.
Ouch.
If you're a loser, there are people who make a lot of money convincing you why you're a loser and why people need to cater to your being a loser. And look what happened to the singer Lizzo, right? So you got, I mean, there's nothing attractive about that. And Jillian Michaels, the workout lady, she just made the observations. Listen, Lizzo, you know, you're really not healthy that being that big and everything. And of course, everybody on Twitter went after Jillian Michaels.
Right.
But we all see that Lizzo is a walking Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, yeah. She was diabetes, cancer, and heart disease, all three waiting to happen.
And the thing about that is it wouldn't be so bad if she just did her thing, sang and made records, and if people want to go and see her and all of her fatness there, whatever, if they want to see that, that's their business. She wants to impose herself onto everybody else. That's where I object. You want to do that and whatever, and people want to go see that, fine. Don't bring that over here telling me I got to accept you. No, I don't. I don't have to. It's just like with the whole gay marriage thing with the gay cake incident. That, you know, it's one thing to say gay Americans should have the right to get married. I agree with that. It's something else for these gay folks to then go to the Christian guy who's making cake and say, you got to make us a wedding cake now. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to make you shit.
Yeah, so this is loser culture.
Well, let me use the things that you just said to digress for just a minute here, because I want to talk about why I wanted to have this discussion with you, with Obsidian. And coming at this as, I guess, really in many ways, an average white guy, I see three things out in the media landscape that supposedly identifies schools of thought in the Black community. And on one hand, we got Black conservatives like Alan West and Larry Elder and others. And while I appreciate what they do, I also have to acknowledge that they tend to say a lot of things that white people want to hear.
Okay, give me an example. Like, give me an example of what the things that Alan West, Larry Elder et al. Say that whites would like to hear.
That they're tired of Black people playing victim.
Okay.
And I think that's a popular notion in the white community. I feel it myself. But to move on just for a minute, we're going to come back and go through all parts of this.
Okay.
I just want to paint a little bit of a picture here. And then we have another group in the Black community, which is the Victocrats.
Oh, absolutely. Democrat
what
Party.
I call plantation Democrats.
Yeah. They are.
And it's victim culture, victim identity, poor me. And, you know, I can tell you, I get tired of hearing that shit too. And then we got one other section called Nation of Islam.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing about the Nation of Islam is that you could, okay, so going back to the Malcolm X days of the 60s and whatnot, so you can make a case, you know, as a white, because many white guys, and Mike Wallace being probably the best example, he did numerous interviews with Malcolm X, and, you know, you can make a case and say, well, you know, I may not agree with their rhetoric, but they're all for taking personal responsibility, educating their children, staying out of trouble, of going into business for themselves, being educated. Yep. Okay, I can go along with that. The rhetoric, I don't like their rhetoric, but I can sign on for the rest of it. But the Nation of Islam of today ain't the Nation of Islam of Malcolm X's era. That's a different animal.
Let's hear more about that.
They too are in the victim camp. For example, so Louis Farrakhan has gotten into trouble over the past year with Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. You know, get banned from Facebook, banned from Twitter. Now, people that support Farrakhan are up in arms over this. But my thing is, why is Farrakhan even on those platforms to begin with? The Nation of Islam is about doing for self. You build your own platform.
Right.
Why are you going on a Jewish man's platform? I'm talking about Facebook. Why are you going on a Jewish man's platform as found by Mark Zuckerberg? Why are you going on a Jewish man's platform saying all kind of crazy stuff about Jews? Then you get kicked off Facebook. I mean, that doesn't, see, this is what I'm talking about, loser culture. The Nation of Islam was about support your own and be yourself. And it used to say, I don't know if you're familiar with this, the Nation of Islam used to publish, it became the Final Call, but early back in the day, it was called Muhammad Speaks newspaper. Malcolm X was an editor of the paper. And on the back of every newspaper, every Muhammad Speaks newspaper, it said, it gave a 10-point plan, what the Muslims want. And it says right there what they want, 10 points there. And one of those points was, we want to have, you know, the means and the wherewithal to develop our own businesses and farms, this, that. Right. So that's the philosophy. I don't make a big deal out of it, but that's the philosophy I adhere to. One reason why I'm steadily moving away from YouTube and development of my own platform is because that way I can say whatever I want. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child has got his own. I got my own platform. I got my own shit, and I say whatever I want to say. And if you don't like it, don't listen to it.
And that is why I said all that to say this. When I wanted to discuss all of these things with one individual who happened to be Black, Obsidian was my one and only choice, because he ain't gonna tell me what he thinks I want to hear. He ain't gonna tell me what he thinks whites or Blacks want to hear. He's gonna say what Obsidian thinks.
So I don't bother with Facebook. Now I have a buddy of mine who, you know, he urged me to do something on Facebook. So I caved in, and he does a little fan page for me on Facebook. That's his baby. He runs it. I haven't messed with Facebook in 5 years. I don't miss it. That he does that little thing on there on Facebook. I could care, because I don't like, and this is a matter of public record too, by the way, Facebook's censorious ways. Diamond and Silk, the two Black women, conservative political commentators, they've given testimony before Congress in Washington, D.C. about this. So this is a matter of public record. Facebook censorious way. I didn't care for that. So I said, I don't want to be bothered. This will be on YouTube. YouTube, I call it the YouTube Pilot Bureau, because they're the same way. They got these crazy Byzantine rules. I said, you know what, man? Screw it. I'll get to a point where I can develop my own platform and just do my own thing. And that's what I've been doing. Working to develop my own shit.
And we'll put this in the description below. Where does my audience go to find you on a non-YouTube platform?
It's a place called the Black Avenger. You can go there by www.fsavenger.com. And as a matter of fact, I'll give you all the information after we get done tonight. I'll email you all the information about how people get. I'm still on YouTube, but I'm, you know, steadily trying to get away from that. I used to do my live shows on YouTube, but since August, I've been doing it on a website called MIXLR, MIXLR.com. That's a live streaming radio service all over the world, based in London. And once the shows get finished live streaming there, I then take the replays and repost them over at the Black Avenger. Plus, I have a complete member service. My show is 100% member driven, no sponsor, no corporate sponsors of any kind since the beginning 5 years ago. So members get access to all the shows and everything. So yeah, I'll give you all the information.
Get that all to me. We'll get it in the description area below. So now that we've sort of broken the ice on this, Obsidian, what's it going to take for Black people and white people to start getting along in this fucking country?
Well, to tell the truth, well, we'll start with whites first. Whites, and you know this, a lot of white folks are kind of held hostage by this group that we just talked about, these loser people, because they know, listen, you know, there was a time in American life, it's true, Blacks were treated badly, the Klan and all that. Well, fine. We're in the 21st century now. That's over. But and the truth just has to be told. The major problems facing Black America today in 2020 are internal. Internal problems with regard to the family, internal problems with regard to this mating piece and the sexual thing, internal problems with regard to lifestyles, culture, choices. All of these things are internal. And look at Lizzo. I mean, that's an internal problem. Ain't nobody made her eat like that. There's an academic, a Black feminist academic named Brittany Cooper. When I was writing over at your website, I wrote about this, and I wrote about her. Right. And she called. By the way, she calls me Satan. By the way, but she was.
Hey, wait a minute, that's my job.
She was on the Oprah Winfrey Network last year. I think it was in September. I think, and she actually stated that the reason why she and Black women like her are so obese. We're not talking about pleasingly plump, a couple extra pounds. That's one thing. We're just talking about flat out obese. The reason why is because of racism and Donald Trump. Yeah, I bullshit you not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were skinny when Barack Obama was president?
Exactly. So, you know, I'm sitting there like, no. And white folks know that that's some crap. And that goes back to the whole Jillian Michaels piece. She's like, no, you got to change your habits, your eating habits. There's an emotional problem there. You got to get help for that. But see, if you say those things, you're fat shaming. You see my position on that is that you need to be ashamed of yourself. Look at yourself. That goddamn huge. You need to be ashamed of yourself. There's something wrong with you as a woman if you're that goddamn big. That's an embarrassment.
Obsidian, you really got to work on this deal and start saying what you mean, man. Tired of all this holding back.
Yeah, really?
So are you saying that one of the things that whites need to do to improve race relations is to start vocally rejecting the victimhood narrative?
Yes. I mean, it's sad to say, because it's, you know, everybody knows about this by now. NBA great, Kobe Bryant, you know, untimely demise, him and his daughter, some others. But let's look at that. I mean, where was the racism that held him back? 5-time NBA champion. Where is it? $350 million estimated fortune. Where's all the racism? Where?
I'm still looking.
You know, beloved by millions. I mean, you know, come on. If you have, he's living proof that if you have the talent and the ability and the work ethic, the sky's the limit, man. He's living, well, not living proof.
Kobe and after his passing, and it was said about him many times before, that the guy had a work ethic that was just unreal.
There it is.
It was next level work ethic, driven.
There it is. Same thing with Michael Jordan. Same thing with him.
Yep.
Same thing with Mike Tyson. Same with, I mean, this is repeated over and over again, man. Same thing with me. You know,
well, I hope we don't want to get into stereotypes here and just name sports figures.
No, this is across the board. I mean, in any area of human endeavor. And it's been repeated over. There's a reason why people die to get here, man. That sounds cliche and patriotic, but God damn it, the truth has to be told. There's a reason why people die to get here.
Yep. Oh, you won't get me to argue with any of that. But let me ask you this. What do you say when people bring up stuff of active racism that still exists, for instance, driving while black, which, if we're going to be honest, we're going to have to say that shit happens.
Okay. As Dinesh D'Souza rightly points out, it's not so much institutional racism anymore, rather episodic. If you got there are police officers, what's the name? Heather McDonald. She wrote a whole book about it. I think the book is called War on Cops. The police, as a matter of fact, they even call it the Ferguson effect. Police now are so jittery about intervening in a potential situation involving a black person because they're fearful that they could get sued, get fired, and all the rest of it. So that has had an adverse effect in the black precincts where crime can go back up because police are so nervous about intervening. Now, who gets hurt behind that? Black people.
So you're not buying the Black Lives Matter?
No. Those are a bunch of ugly feminists that are situational lesbians, couldn't get a man, and they cooked up some kind of harebrained scheme.
Yeah, black women just love you, don't they?
I mean, really, if you look at I was looking at the other day, they had so they got this thing going on in China called the leftover women, Shunnu, I think it's called. And that translates to leftover women. In other words, you got women that's over in China. If you're like 30 and above and you're not married, you're considered a spinster. So they're talking about that. So they got these group of Chinese feminists. They doing their thing. Now, the Chinese government will lock you up if you like demonstrate and stuff like that. Right. So they kind of have to operate in secret, and they got their own version of the vagina monologues and all that. And what I noticed about these Chinese feminists is that they're homely.
It's like American feminists.
Exactly. I mean, wait a minute. Hold on a second. So I'm starting to see a pattern here across the world. What are the chances of that being just a random occurrence? Could the fact that you're homely have anything to do with this? Anything?
Well, we do have exceptions. What about Zerlina Maxwell?
The very few exceptions of black feminists that are attractive are crazy.
Oh yeah, she's crazy, but she is fine.
Yeah. And you know, we're guys. Guys will put up with a crazy bitch for a minute to get laid and then get the hell out of there.
Yep. That's one common strategy.
Long enough to get laid, and let's face it, crazy bitches can be a great lay.
Oh yeah, you know, just a hot and crazy index.
Yeah.
Well, how much has feminism gotten a foothold in the Black community?
It's total.
Total.
The matter, I read an article. This would have been, I think, right after Trump was elected. Those that got Lexus can look this up. This is on the New York Times, and they were talking about how black women responded to the election of Trump and what have you. And I think it was like in November or December of 2016, and they cited that the fact that black women are more feminist than white women, and they cited the exit polling numbers, the numbers of white women that voted for Trump versus black, and who supported the Democrat. You know, black women supported the Democrat Party to the tune of 95%.
That's staggering.
Yeah, 95%. And they said they cited, you know, Michelle Obama and other, you know, prominent black women as, powerful symbols and role models, stuff like that. So black women are more feminist than white women are. And you know, you could debate that, you know, on the other side they'll say, you know, there's some good things that came out of that, and I agree. Like we talked about with abortion. Hey, you want to go ahead and kill your own kid? Fine. All we're saying is we don't want to pay for it, and guys need to have the ability to walk away from it too. That's all we're saying. So on that side, but there's the downsides of the destruction of the black family. Black feminists didn't cause that per se, but they did have some degree of something to do with that.
Who do you think did destroy the black family?
The welfare state.
So it's basically arm's length white social liberals.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and, you know, Larry Elder, that you mentioned earlier, Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams. There's been a number of prominent black men and some black women who have, you know, they just, you know, give the statistics. I mean, the black family was much more cohesive prior to the 60s and 70s than before. That's just an empirical fact. Even though racism was much more prevalent before the 1960s than after. So you can't use racism as a reason for the black family falling apart.
Oh, no, this is something I heard Rush Limbaugh point out many, many years ago. He pulled up the evidence in the studies, and in 1960 in America, the average black family was a nuclear family with a mother and father at home and owned the home.
That's right.
That was and look at the numbers since then.
Yep. Now,
it almost seems intentional.
Yeah, and the feminists weren't controlling government, but the feminists did have a big role to play. They did have a big voice, and in Black America, that voice is pretty much total. I'm saying Black America is the de facto matriarchy. You know, in terms of culture, I'm not saying in terms of law, but in terms of culture and practice. And look at the results. I mean, it staggers the mind to hear these black women complaining about dusty black men. And my position is, yeah, but who created these dusty black men? And of course, they'll say, well, what about the father? It takes two to make a baby. I agree. It takes you and a dusty loser guy to make a dusty loser baby. You chose.
It circles back to where we were talking in our last discussion, Obsidian. Quit fucking thug.
Exactly. Quit banging losers. You got a thing with losers. You like to bang them and suck them and fuck them, and then you want to have babies with them, and then you want to complain why you have a loser baby. Well, you banged a loser.
And why you can't find a beta chump to take over and pay for everything.
You got that right. I was talking about this earlier today. The days when guys in Black America, the whole foster thing and fostering kids and all that, the kind of race man was a big deal in Black American society. But that was then. This is now. Brothers got the internet, we got smartphones, and we hear a Paul Elam or Alan Roger Curry, all these different people across the spectrum give the real inside dope as to the dark sides, excuse me, of female mating psychology. And look, there's a lot of black women that like losers. That's what I always say. Every black woman's banged a loser. Everybody, that's nothing new. But what is new is that the good black guys are not accepting that deal anymore.
Well, and to be fair, I like banging losers too. I just don't want them around 5 minutes after I'm done.
Exactly. And you ain't making no babies with them.
Right, exactly.
And see, this is the difference between the white situation. Sheryl Sandberg, years ago, the white guys in white manosphere, they kind of, went berserk over her statement that, you should bang the non-committal guy and the loser guy, this, that, and all these different guys, and then settle down with the good guy. And the white guys went crazy over that. But I would remind the white guys this, that white women of Sheryl Sandberg's ilk understand that if they go and bang a Chad Thundercock and come up pregnant, they are pretty much done in terms of landing a decent Bradley guy. That's over. White women understand that. You bang them and come up pregnant and have that kid, you're through. Because white guys ain't going for that. But in the black community, up until very recently, that was okay. Now that's starting to turn around in more recent years, over the past few years. But for a very long time, a black woman could do the equivalent, and then, some other simp or sap will come along and kind of pick up the pieces. But the brothers have made it clear, we are not going to be the cleanup man anymore. You want to bang those losers? Great. You come up pregnant and whatever with the kids, you're on your own.
That sounds like a plan. And speaking of that, tell us about SYSBM.
Yeah, that's the current hot topic. It was something that was created by a black male YouTuber known as the Mad Bus Driver X. And what is it? I mean, the idea of black men leaving the country or leaving Black America proper for mates, be they short term or long term, isn't anything new. That's been going on. I've been aware of it since the 1990s. However, the difference today is with the internet, social media, and a more, I guess you could say, codification of these ideas. A lot of black men are coming to the conclusion that the rank and file black American woman is unsuitable for various forms of mating. Long-term, first and foremost, marriage, so forth, but even in short-term sense, because they have so many deficits, kids, weight, attitudes, debt, and so on. And so an increasing number of black men are proposing leaving the United States altogether, or failing that, at least leaving the confines of Black America proper for the purpose of finding more amenable and suitable mates. So that's really what SYSBM, an acronym that stands for Save Yourself Black Man, is in a nutshell all about.
And of course, it's not confined just to the black community. I already know guys right now that have left the United States and Canada.
Yeah, Tom Likas is a real famous example of that. There've been white men have been doing this. Yep.
Another one of the guys just got an email a couple of days ago from one of my patrons that said, "That's it, I'm out. I'm going to buy a boat. I'm getting out of here. Fuck all this."
Yeah. And given on the black side, given the rank and file black woman situation, of course, notable exceptions notwithstanding, of course. But yeah, there's something to be said for that. I'm 51. It's going back to Kobe and whatnot.
Oh, you're a young man.
Yeah. Thinking about this, and you say to yourself, the average lifespan of a black man, knock on wood, about 72, 73 at present. Do I really want to spend the rest of my life dealing with an uncooperative bitch? Do I really want to do that? See, I'm not going to do that.
Same page with you there. We are at that time of life when you start figuring out, you start counting average life expectancy and look at where you're at. You do start thinking about, how do I want to spend this time?
Yeah, and I don't want to. Now I've been blessed and fortunate that I have a lady friend who is native born here in the United States, and she's got her head on straight. But should things go sideways, I'm with E. Brule and those guys. I'm out of here too. I'm not going to spend whatever time I got left sifting through these bitches. I'm not going to do that. I'll take my chances overseas.
Do you have any choices of where you'd go overseas if you could go anywhere?
Yeah. Well, first, I mean, because I am an American and a Black American, and there is something to be said about the uniqueness of the Black American experience and so forth. So my first choice would be Puerto Rico. So let me see if I can try to make something work there, because Puerto Rico is a de facto American state. There are Afro Puerto Ricans, I guess, Roberto Clemente type Puerto Ricans over there. So let me see if I can try to work something out with that. If that don't work, my next stop, Dominican Republic. If that don't work,
I thought that might come up.
yeah, that don't work, Brazil. Those are like on the short list if it come down to that. But my first stop to try to make it work would be Puerto Rico. See if I make something happen there. That the culture, there's some differences there. It's a Caribbean culture, Spanish speaking, but it's still infused with American culture. You still have some connection there. And it's Black, I'm dealing with trying to seek a lady that's of Black background. So I'll try to do that. But if I can't go that route, then the other countries, Colombia has a significant Black, population. So I try to do that, right. if I can.
Let me circle back for a minute. I want to go back and revisit this Nation of Islam thing, because I'm curious on your perspective of this. It is certainly, I've noticed, you're right. It's not the same Nation of Islam as in Malcolm X's day. It is entirely different. And I got a feeling that part of that may be because Louis Farrakhan thinks that the spaceships are coming for us.
Well, yeah, I'm reminded of his address at something he organized, the Million Man March, over 20 years ago.
Right.
And
God, is it that long?
Yeah, 1995. And I'm thinking back on that, and that was yeah. Yeah. What it reminded me of is, like, so every family has the crazy uncle.
Yep.
And Thanksgiving or the family reunion or whatever, people get together, and here he comes with the alligators and sewers, what they doing with the airwaves and all the rest of it. They MK Ultra is still alive, and okay, thank you, thank you, we've heard enough, thank you, we appreciate that, thank you. Kind of give him a beer and shuffle him off down in the basement. That kind of reminds me of where Farrakhan is right now. And he's getting on in years, and that's what happens when you get older. I mean, you start saying crazy stuff. So I mean,
Well, and I brought that up not just to poke fun at Farrakhan, but to go back to your point. You were talking about what you thought white people needed to do in order to improve race relations. And as a white guy standing on the other side of the fence, looking at the Black community, what I'm seeing that's missing is Black unity, Black-owned businesses, Black patronage of business. Why are so many Black people going into Walmart?
Yeah, exactly. And that's because a lot of Black people, want to be around white. It's not in a good way. Like, say, well, I would like my children to be able to interact with whites. That's one thing. In a pathological, if I can use that term, in a pathological, I'll give you an example of what I mean. So you got Black women spending billions of dollars to get their hair to look like white women's.
Yeah. And what is up with that?
That's an example of the pathology. And my thing is, then these same Black women get upset when a white woman makes her hair look akin to what you would expect of a Black woman's hairstyle. Then they say that's cultural appropriation. Well, bitch, what do you got on your head? Ain't that cultural appropriation? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. So, I mean, this is some deep psychology. And by the way, there was a white girl, she's like for lack of a better way of putting this, trailer park trash white. And I can't remember her name, but if you search for it, this happened to her. She had a hairstyle from that was associated with a Black woman, and Black women went after her, and she said she just unloaded both barrels on them and said, y'all go around with these weaves, these wigs that look like a white woman's head, and nobody's supposed to say anything about that. And of course, Black women backed up off her. So, Yeah, I mean,
Is this the same phenomenon? Because I know that I've discussed this with black friends before, of some of the biases in the black community favoring lighter skin.
well, yeah, that's been overblown. At one time in the Black American life, I'm talking about going back a century.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a thing. But today,
But I'm wondering if it has, what you just described has its roots in that kind of.
yeah, all of that. And to tell you the truth, it's really something that black women themselves carry on in their own head. Because for black men, as long as you're hot, we really don't give a shit.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you're dark skinned, light skinned, whatever. I mean, as long as you're hot, that's the only real criteria. So, you know, for a lot of black women, these are internal. See, the problem with a lot of black women is that they want everybody else, black men specifically, to fix their problems. No, that's, you got to get help for that. Whatever your problem is, there's help for that. There's people that you pay that will listen to you with all your shit. I'm not a de facto therapist. I'm here to have fun. I even did a poll, because I do my own little polling stuff now. So I did a poll that asked my listeners, when you hear the play word association. So I said, when you hear the words black women, does the word fun immediately come to mind? Like over 70% said no.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a real job to deal with a lot of black women. I'm not saying every last one, but generally. It's a real job because a lot of black women have a well-earned reputation for being difficult to deal with bitches.
Is it fair to say, and I'm looking at this very much from the outside, but I have had some black men tell me that black women give them the impression they don't like black men.
Well, here's the thing in Black America. Black America has become so used to fighting, you know, fighting against slavery, fighting against racism, fight this, that, the struggle and all that. So that's the only mode we really know. And then on top of that, a lot of black folks actually likes things that are not good for them. Like, for example, a lot of black women are attracted to losers and thugs and knuckleheads. They're not good for you, but they're attracted to that. So they like the idea of fighting and fucking and all that. So a lot of women a lot of black women secretly get turned on by that. All the fighting and the acrimony, you know, and that get them hot and bothered. Now they want to screw. That's not normal, man. There's something wrong with that.
Yep.
But they like it. That's why I say that hate fucking is the norm in Black America. A lot of black people hate fucking. They really don't like each other. But
that doesn't say a lot for the future of well-grounded relationships.
No, it shows. I mean, look at the black marital rate. At present, under 30%. All-time low since census records were kept coming out of Reconstruction. And projected to fall even further with black millennials. It's projected to fall under 25%. That tells you right there.
Devastating consequences.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is there a way out?
That's why SBM.
Yeah. In other words, no.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we're in a situation where this is going to have to kind of burn itself out. You know, Generation X, I'm Generation X. A lot of black women in that cohort are fixed in terms of where they are, and it's a free country. They have a right to be who they want to be and do what they want to do. I mean, you know, but that doesn't mean me or any other black man has to take it. And so my question to these ladies is, you got this itch that you can't scratch for this certain type of black guy. I get that. But what's your plan after y'all finish having fun? Life is going to go on. You're going to get older. What is your plan? To care for yourself in your final years, since we all know that the guys you like to bang ain't worth shit outside the bedroom. I mean, they're not reliable. They're not dependable. They're not responsible. That means you have to take care of yourself. You have to protect yourself. You're going to have to deal with your own health care and final expenses. You're going to have to deal with your own housing. What's the plan for all of that for the rest of your life? That's where I'm at with it. Of course, sisters get upset, How dare you ask that question? I do dare. Because I don't want to be stuck with the bill.
Amen to that. What do you think the Black community will look like in America 100 years from now?
A lot lighter.
A lot lighter?
Yeah. I mean, it's already Black American men at present have a out marriage rate versus Black women 2-to-1. That's been consistent for the past half a century. It's starting to grow. I think over the next 30 to 50 years, we'll see that percentage grow. It could actually double. I think Black America is going to be a much different place in another 50 years than we've known it in the previous 50. And I think one of the obvious telltale signs of that is that it's going to be a lot lighter.
Do you think that white women treat Black men any better than Black women do?
Is that a trick question?
No, straight up.
It's a truism among Black men, even those that aren't necessarily interested in white women per se, but it's a truism among Black men that on balance, on average, white women are easier to get along with than Black women, all things being equal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting though, because what I've heard from two different friends that pretty much date only Black women, these are white guys, they say they get treated better than the white women. Well,
that's understandable because they're white. See, a lot of Black women are so, deeply color struck. So the guff that they would know, I don't know if you're aware of this, Paul Elon, there are Black women online who have classes to teach Black women how to act around white men. And they actually advise them, listen, leave that attitude at home.
No kidding.
Yes, there are books on Amazon.
And they're willing to take that advice as long as it's involving white men.
Yes.
But not, but they ain't gonna tell you, you've been giving them the same advice.
It's on Amazon. You can look it up. It's on Amazon. They got books for this. They got there's a woman named Crystalline Carrison. She does a charm school for Black women that want to get a white man. All of that stuff. And one of the big things that they do is say, look, leave that attitude at home. Don't bring that attitude to the white guy.
Wow. Okay. You learn something new every day.
Yeah. It's deep. You look at that, I'm like, God damn. So to go back to the point of the guys that the white guys that yes, they have something that really is a game changer. They're white.
Wow.
See, this is the part where you say something.
Yeah, I'm dumbstruck. I say, oh, man, Black guys are fucked.
Yeah, it's deep. I mean, you can't make Hollywood screenwriters can't make this shit up, man. Now, did you see that? They were like, "Oh my God, I can't."
And Hollywood
it's huge.
Never tell this story.
No, and Carrison and Black women like her across social media, they making money with this. God bless them for it. I mean, I'm not against them earning a living, but they're making a nice bit of coin selling this to other Black women.
Well, I'm wondering now if I could decide right here and now in this discussion that henceforth I'm going to identify as a Black woman, if I can go into business doing this. Because I know how to give advice to women about leaving that attitude at home.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, if a Black woman can do it, why not go right to the source, a white guy?
Hello?
Yeah. You just go right in and cut out the middleman, just go straight to a white guy. He give you the 411 on it. I mean, hey, it's and many of those. I don't know if you heard about the Sperminator. Have you heard of this guy? There's a guy named the Sperminator. Ari, I can't remember his name now. Ari something or other. But if you look him up on the internet, you'll find him. Guy out of New York City, Jewish guy out of New York City. I think he's like a mathematics professor for the CUNY system in New York. But he became known as the sperminator because a lot of black women wanted his baby. So he would inseminate a whole lot of black women.
The old-fashioned way?
So in some cases.
Okay.
In others, he would just kind of do the deed, and like a regular. It's basically the poor black woman's fertility clinic. You would do the deed into a cup, and she would take it from there. In some cases, others the old-fashioned way. I mean, it was a big story, I guess 2 years ago, something like that. And Ari Nagel, that's his name, Ari Nagel, A-R-I, last name Nagel, N-A-G-E-L, out of New York City.
I can hear the keys clicking right now.
And there you go. There's a lot of black women want that light-skinned baby.
One thing I think we're just about to wrap up here, but I'm sure we can conclude one thing out of all this discussion, Obsidian, is that whatever race relations are, they got some weird obstacles to overcome.
So, I mean, the only way we're really going to get a handle on all this is that people on both sides, black and white, are able to have honest conversation. When the left talks about they want a conversation on what they really want on race, what they really want is for them to dictate to everybody else what to believe. It's kind of like a communist re-education camp. They want to do that, and everybody else just kind of reverently do the open nod. Yes. You're not shit. White folks are evil. Yes. Yeah. No, screw that. If we're going to have an honest conversation about race, gender, sex, and all this, then let's have an honest conversation. I had a lady white lady on my show the other day, Megan Dom. She wrote a really good book. You like it, The Problem with Everything. And I told her toward the end, I said, listen, I know a lot of women don't like to hear this, but it's the truth. I told my sisters, and I'll say it today to any woman that wants to listen. If you're not prepared to put out, don't accept anything from a man. Don't accept a dinner invitation, lunch invitation, brunch invitation, drinks, a ride home. He wants to open the door for you, carry your groceries. If you accept it, the guy is thinking, I got a chance to get laid.
Absolutely right. But that's what's on his mind. Yeah.
And she said, oh my God, listen, I'm telling you how guys think. If you don't want to go to bed with the guy, don't accept anything from him. Anything. He wants to give you a pen so you can write something down. Nothing.
Oh, and by the way, ladies, while you're taking that advice, which you really should, that routine of, oh, he's just a good friend, which is another way of saying, I'm going to take advantage of everything he's going to do for me, trying to get these pants. Yeah. Now you're playing with fire. You're playing with fire.
Because some guys, it won't be no big whoop, but you never know the dude that could potentially snap out behind that.
And it has happened.
Yeah. So, and a lot of women, white and black, don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. I'm sorry. Guys, the main way they get laid is by doing really nice things for women.
Yes, ladies, we know that you think that all men should just be as happy as a peach just to buy you dinner, just so they can sit down and look at you for 45 minutes. Guess what? Get over yourself.
Yeah. Now, it's possible y'all could like each other afterward. Y'all just enjoy each other's company. Well, okay, great. But yeah, like you said, don't fool yourself. He wants to get laid. A guy that's really nice to you, he wants to get laid.
Well, one thing I can say that I think would be a big improvement for race relations is if we can all, regardless of skin color, agree that all of our cultures, all of our subcultures in the Western world produce women that are big fat problems.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, look at what's going on in China. Look at what's going on in India. I'm pretty sure it'll catch up in Africa if it hasn't already.
And China's getting a step up on this, man.
Yeah.
And so are places like Hungary. The president of Hungary just pulled the plug on gender studies in that country.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He said, hell no.
Well, see, I think the reason why is because Hungary, and we have a unique, tragic, to tell you the truth, relationship with Hungary, given what happened back in the 1956 and all that. I think the Hungarian people understand firsthand what happens when you have this kind of authoritarianism going on.
Absolutely right.
So they're very skittish and rightly so, kind of gun shy at that. So I can understand why they would shut that down.
Yes, you'll go if you ever get a chance to visit Budapest, you'll see they still have the old torture chambers enshrined from the communist days.
Oh my God.
Um,
And they were running over people with tanks and stuff. Oh my God.
oh yeah, it is, man. That's a whole other discussion. Obsidian, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you
Thank
for
you.
agreeing to spend some time with me this evening. I've enjoyed it, and I would like to come back and revisit with you again.
Anytime you're ready, man, all the time. Thank you so much, Paul Elam. And thank you so much to your listeners and the good people over at the Voice for Men. Y'all have always been very good to me. Thank you so much.
Take care.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Peace.